Hello everyone and welcome back to Whimsy Creek Art. Alright, today is episode 16 of our beginner paint pour series. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how you would clean your canvas or clean your paint pour, and then how I varnish my paint pours. And so everybody has their own way of doing this, and this is just how my process of doing this. There's many different YouTube videos on how to clean your paint pour and how to varnish it. So this is just how I do it. And you definitely need to clean your pour if you've used silicone in your pour. If you haven't used any silicone, you do not have to clean it. You can just skip the cleaning process and go right to varnishing it, which we will talk about towards the end. But first we're going to talk about cleaning it, because you do have the silicone oils. If you do not clean the pour, when you go to seal it, it'll kind of repel all those areas that have the silicone, so you want to thoroughly clean off any silicone on the surface. And of course, this is after it is dried. You need to let all paint pours dry for 3 to 4 weeks. Now, some people say you can get away with going less. Some people say, you very much on the 3 to 4 weeks. It's really, a lot of different people have different opinions on that, and if that's fine. I wait for 3 to 4 weeks. So when you're done with 3 to 4 weeks and it's all nice and dry, what you're going to do is you're going to get some cornstarch. And I just get pure cornstarch from the grocery store, and you can reuse this over and over and over again. So I've set my pour on some paper, and so the excess that's all done and what I brush off when it's all done, I can put back in this container and just keep reusing it and reusing it. So what I do is I get a wire strainer screen thing. I think they even have them at the Dollar Tree. And I take the cornstarch and I put just a little bit in there. You don't need too much. And you just sprinkle it all over. And you can blow it, to make sure it's covered on all areas. And what you're going to do is, once you have it all completely covered with cornstarch, and you can use this to hit the side to make sure it's all over. And I let this sit, and the cornstarch will be soaking up the silicone. And I let this sit I usually do this before I go to bed, and then I brush it off in the morning. But you can do it let it sit for like an hour if you want, if you need to. But I usually just go ahead and let it sit overnight. Right, now we've let that sit overnight with cornstarch on it. And then I just have a brush. It's kind of a little bit rougher of a brush, and it's the same one paintbrush that I use over and over again for this. I just kind of have a little tub set aside that has my cornstarch and my little strainer thing and my brush that I use for this. And so after this is set, I go ahead and I get the item, and I just brush off all the excess cornstarch, and it's sat overnight and had a chance to soak up all the excess silicone. And then I brush it all off, and then you can take this and put it right back in your container and reuse it. Just make sure that you keep it separate from any you're going to use for food. I just reuse the same container and keep it separate in my art room. All right, so once you get it all covered, all completely off of there, you're going to have just a little bit more. And how I get this little bit of excess off of here is I go ahead and I take a baby wipe and I wipe it down just lightly with a baby wipe. Okay, now that you've put the cornstarch on and then let that sit there, and you've brushed the cornstarch off, and now you wipe it down with the baby wipe and just lightly kind of give it a wipe down to get any excess cornstarch off. But you don't really want to scrub on it with the baby wipe. Just lightly wipe it down, and then you should be good to go. Let it dry. I mean, it's not really that wet from the baby wipe, but a couple minutes to make sure the surface has dried. And then you're ready to go ahead and varnish. Now there's many different varnishes that you can use, and I actually use a few different types. And I use a few different types for a few different reasons. If I'm looking to do a whole bunch of pieces quickly, and if it's nice outside where I can do the clear coating or the varnishing outside, then I would use this product. It is Krylon Triple Thick Clear Glaze. I use this if I have a lot of things to varnish at once, and if the weather is allowing me to varnish outside. This is just a quick way to do it. And so if I am going to use this, what I do is I hold the can about 12 inches above it, and I give just a very light coat. You want to give a very light coat of the spray, and then you can let that dry for an hour or two and come back and I give about 3 to 4 coats of the spray, and letting about an hour or two in between each time dry. And just go light on it. You don't want to do big thick coats, just 3 to 4 light coats of the spray, holding it about 12 inches above. And that's if you have good ventilation. You got to do that outside if you're going to use the spray. Now, if I don't have a nice sunny day to do the spray, or if I'm only going to do a couple of pieces, I will actually use this. And this is the Minwax water-based polyacrylic. And I like the clear semi-gloss, but they do have it in matte, gloss, a couple of different finishes. But this is the one I use if I'm just going to real quickly do 1 or 2, or if it's winter or don't have a sunny day to use the spray outside. And how I do that is I just use a foam brush, and they have a couple of different types of foam brushes at the store. This is a little bit denser one. Sometimes some of the stores will have one that kind of got a little bit of holes and stuff. Get the kind of firmer, denser one if you can find it. That seems to help me a little bit more. And so I just use this here, and I just do the real light coats. And what I'll do is the first coat I'll go one direction, real light coat. Then I'll put this in a Ziploc bag to store it and not let it dry out. And I'll put this in a Ziploc bag and set it aside and wait a couple hours. Then I'll come back through and do another coat the other direction and let it dry each time and put this in a Ziploc bag. And then after about 3 to 4 coats, different directions each time, then you should be good to go, and you shouldn't see too many brush marks if you do nice light coats in a different direction each time. And those are the sealants or varnishes that I use. I also really like Liquitex varnish. But these two are kind of on the budget, a little bit cheaper. This one here is about $4.50 at Walmart, and then this one here is about $9 at Walmart. So, all right, and thank you very much for joining me with episode 16 of our Beginner Paint Pour series. All right, have a great day.